What is up, guys? Welcome to my second YouTube video. I wish it would have been under better circumstances, but it won't be. This morning, if you saw the news, I'm pretty sure you did. And Nico Williams renewed his contract with Athletic Club for another 10 years, upped his contract, upped his salary, and upped his release clause. What does this mean? This means Nico Williams to Barcelona will never happen. I don't think it ever should happen anymore. I think this time for real, and I'm not basing it off the quote, I think just in general, this time the door is closed indefinitely. Because 2 years is enough. 2 years is honestly a little bit too much. But I understand it because Nico is a fantastic player, has the potential to be an even better player, especially if he's surrounded by like world-class players. He could overall continue to grow. Not that he won't grow at the club, but you get what I'm saying. Look, personally, this deal bummed me out. This deal falling through bummed me out because I didn't care what happened last year. I still wanted Nico Williams to join the club this summer. Given what the club managed to do this past season, winning the domestic treble, I think having Nico Williams added onto that roster would have made us a much better team. I get it. Offensively, we were already good, but adding a player like Nico with his qualities would have just made us more lethal. And the situation still hasn't really processed in my head because keep in mind it was Nico and his agent who made the move, who contacted the Barcelona board, contacted to have a meeting in order to discuss a transfer this time, that they were open to that they wanted the move to happen. And I think because of a bit of miscommunication and a lack of patience, at the end of the day, was the reason why the deal fell through. I'm getting into the lack of the miscommunication part. Look, whenever Nico, his agents, and Barcelona met, I think then and there they should have said everything that they thought, everything that they wanted. Barcelona, on their end, they should have been like, look, we have the money to pay your release clause. We could buy you right now. We just won't be able to register you tomorrow or the next day. The registration part is going to take a while because we still have our ongoing issues. But don't worry, at the end of the day, we'll figure it out and you'll be registered before the beginning of the season. That is what I think Barcelona should have said. And in Nico and his agent's side, they should have known. They should have known the situation of the club. They should have known where we were at and that it was going to take a while. But they should have been like, you know what? This time we're not going to make the same mistake. This time we are going to hold out at least for another week and see if you actually make progress. Because look, bro, it is July 4th and you're telling me you couldn't wait another week, or not even a whole week, just maybe like a couple, 3 days. You said you wanted to join the club. If you really wanted to join the club, you would have waited at least a couple more days, not waited only 4 and then signed the extension. You get what I'm saying? That is why this whole situation, that is all I could give you on. That's just my opinion, because the narratives, there's going to be many, and at the end of the day, time will tell. Time will let us know who was in the right. You know, it always is like that. It always ends up being like that. Now, like I said, emotionally for me, yeah, this sucks. And I know there's already the names being brought up again, the Rashford, the Luis Diaz. I wouldn't be surprised if Rafael Leao ends up getting thrown in the mix. But personally, I just wanted it to be Nico. That is the only player I wanted. Whoever ends up coming in, I'll accept them. I'll support them, obviously, because they are joining my club. They are making an effort to join the club. But like I said, I think it would have been the story would have been different with Nico added into that team. Also, I want to get into the fact that I think a lot of fingers are being pointed at the board, at the Barcelona board. Did they make us look like fools? A little bit. But as well, they were made look like fools. And I don't think, yes, Barcelona is at fault. Barcelona is a contributor to this. But they are the side in which has the least amount of fault in this situation. Because like I said, they didn't make the first move. They didn't go out and beg Nico. It was Nico and his agent who went first. I think the part in which they are at fault is entertaining it because I know Deco spoke out about it. And I think Laporta as well. that is probably the only aspect I could say, oh yeah, Barcelona is at fault, because everything else, like I said, they played their cards, they did what they could. Um, and last year, I criticized the club, the board, for what they were doing. And I think, in my perspective, in my situation, like I was in the right, we were in the right to criticize. But at the end of the day, look how it ended up playing out, right? Yes, they might have done things that I didn't like last year, but at the end of the day, time put everything in its place. And at the end of the day, look what ended up happening: a domestic treble. And this year, I personally am not gonna make that same mistake and put all the blame on the board, because I think if they didn't execute it, if they didn't have everything together already, it's for a reason, right? Um, as much as, like, right away I want to say, yeah, no, the board, Deco, Laporta. No, this time around, I'm gonna handle things differently. I think now more than ever is an important time to back the club, to back the directors, because look at the situation they've been under and look at the results they have given. Don't forget, bro, the collaborations, all the new stadium, everything, the deals. They've pulled miracles, bro. They've pulled miracles. And like I said, I think at the end of the day, just because this whole Nico Williams deal didn't go through, as much as it does suck, I think time will tell. Time will put everyone in its place. And yeah, like I said, don't disrespect the board. They've done their job. They did what they could. And if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be, bro. It wasn't meant to be. Now moving on, but kind of like staying in the same like topic, left wing positions, or like just like reinforcements, right? Dani Rodriguez, in my opinion, should be kept in the first team dynamics. He only played one game, and in that game he got injured. He is still recovering from that injury. I think Dani Rodriguez should be kept in that. I think he should be given the opportunity, the minutes to continue growing, getting that first team experience. In that game that he played, he showed a bit of quality, a bit of moments, but obviously because of the lack of experience, he didn't really like shine. But I think if and when given the opportunity, I think he could, show to be a really good player. Now I've only seen clips, but like I said, I'd rather like give him that confidence and that ability to maintain in the first team. That way he continues growing. At the end of the day, you're only benefiting yourself as a club and obviously the player. But yeah, Dani Rodriguez should be kept in as an alternative to Lamine. And I think Dani Rodriguez could play in the left wing position, but I'm not entirely too sure. But I think he can. And if that is the case, then you could rotate him with Rafinha, bro. You could rotate him with Rafinha or with Ferran if he ends up playing on that wing. Whoever it be, he could be a rotational player. The other player I think should be given the opportunity is Ronny, the Swedish kid that they have signed but hasn't been official. I think no brainer. He is going to stay in the first team dynamics, be allowed the same situation as Dani to grow and to get that experience, and obviously serve as a rotational player to Lamine Yamal, because Lamine Yamal, I think this year his minutes should be handled a little bit better. And I think Ronny, no, yeah, and Dani, because he played in that position when Lamine wasn't there. I think both of those two players should be given the trust, should be given the opportunity to prove themselves, as well as one or two other La Masia players that I'm sure will be introduced throughout the season. And then, yeah, in those regards, that is all for the video, because, I already gave my opinion on the Nico Williams thing. I do want to say I wish him nothing but the best in his career. Hopefully everything goes good. Hopefully he does end up winning a couple trophies with Athletic Club, because at the end of the day, that is what he said. He was going to stay in the club of his life. That is where he felt was at home. And it's time for us to focus in ourselves as a club, Barcelona. It sucks, but like I said, this is business, bro. This is business. And as always, let me know down your opinions in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.